Sukuna and Yuji had quite the relationship throughout Jujutsu Kaisen, but now Sukuna has taken over Megumi's body, leaving Yuji for good to pursue his path of power. I feel there's a greater reason as to why Sukuna hates Yuji so much and why he decides in the end not to kill him. Sukuna is renowned as the greatest calamity in the world and the strongest ever, but was ultimately brought back to the modern era after Yuji consumes his fingers and Yuji is able to suppress him for most of the series. Although for Suguna now being in Megumi's body, he seems to have no care in the world for Yuji, but this might not be the case. He had the opportunity to destroy Yuji and finish him off for good, but he did not do this, which now is leading to Yuji facing him off again as Sukuna has just defeated Gojo and Kishimo. Sukuna might have a deep hatred for Yuji that stems from their time together and leading to Sukuna's past and how he dealt with people around him. He is very shocked to have someone like Yuji be able to control him, and he has seen just what extent Yuji goes to for the sake of his ideals. Both of these characters are very different, and this contrast is what makes them so uniquely appealing. Sukuna, who doesn't care about love and only wants to fight until his death, and then Yuji, who cares for people and wants to be surrounded by people during his death. This is what makes the two differ from each other. Yuji's ideals are seemingly different from Sukuna's. He is an honest person who cares for his comrades and people. He commands the value of life and wants to receive a proper death in a way that saves everyone. This idea is completely revolting to someone like Sukuna, who only cares about power and destruction. He has no regard on others and only relies on his strength to get him where he needs to be. This clash was seen a lot from them as Sukuna points out weaknesses in Yuji and often makes fun of him, criticizing him and putting him down. Sukuna is someone with high regard for himself and puts no one above him. He sees strength as a class for power and cannot relate to others as he is known as the honored one and only his displeasure and pleasure existed. He was a king on the throne and never bowed down to anyone. He expected respect from anyone and would give others a probable death if they went for it. The difference in ideals was a huge factor in the story, often highlighting how their ideals caused them to go astray on one another. Yuji used to ask Sukuna for help when facing an opponent he could not defeat, which in turn Sukuna did not acknowledge this request and did not like how Yuji tried to cling onto him as a last resort. Sukuna also seems to enjoy making Yuji go through despair and watching him as he tears apart everything and lets Yuji witness the aftermath of what he has already done. Yuji still has to remind himself that these people are curses and will always act the same. They have no love for humans and therefore will do whatever they want with them. Another reason why I think he doesn't like Yuji is because he is not being able to control Yuji. This inability to fully take control over Yuji is something that probably bothered Sukuna a lot. Not being able to control a 15-year-old kid could have bothered Sukuna and he couldn't quite figure it out on how he was being so suppressed. Sukuna turned himself into a cursed object with the help of KiiNGKhyy and needed a vessel capable of taking over. He was able to take over Megumi's soul much quicker than Yuji's and didn't need all the efforts like before. Yuji could very well be the counter to Sukuna that he doesn't know. He once called Yuji a cage instead of a vessel, probably meaning that Yuji was able to keep a lot of Sukuna's power locked inside, instead of a vessel where he could go all out with his power. Sukuna's hate for Yuji allowed him to create a rule where he could have his body for 1 minute without hurting anyone. In doing so, he used it to take on Megumi's body. Yuji's body is now soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy, and we could see something interesting from Yuji as he goes on to fight Sukuna yet again. Sukuna has already called KiiNGKhyy twisted for his methods with Yuji, but now it might also tie in with Sukuna and Yuji's pact when they were together. Many times in the series, we also see Sukuna telling Yuji that he's too boring. Sukuna's view of Yuji as boring can be understood in several ways. Sukuna is an incredibly powerful and ancient cursed spirit with immense strength and a vast array of abilities. Compared to Sukuna, Yuji initially seems inexperienced and lacking in power. Sukuna may find Yuji uninteresting because he doesn't present much of a challenge to him. Yuji was someone who was just introduced to cursed energy at the beginning of the series and has no curse technique of his own, so his fighting style is pretty basic altogether. He desires strong opponents and Yuji has not been able to give him a fight worth looking for. Sukuna has disgust for Yuji because of how weak he is and why his fighting style is so boring. Yuji's main goal is to save people and ensure that no one else suffers the same fate as his grandfather. While this is a noble and compassionate goal, Sukuna, who revels in chaos and destruction, may find it unexciting or unambitious. You may perceive Yuji as someone with simple and predictable motivations. Because of this, Sukuna doesn't care for Yuji's morals either and calls him boring as well, as Yuji doesn't cling to life at all and simply doesn't care to die. His methods up until this point has been to die with Sukuna inside of him, live a great life, and Sukuna doesn't exactly enjoy this method, as Yuji could have been way more than what he thinks he is. This lack of morale entices Sukuna and gives him a lower respect to Yuji due to his dull personality that he diminishes time and time again. Yuji adheres to a strong sense of morality and ethics, which is opposite to Sukuna's character. Sukuna is a ruthless, self-serving entity who disregards human life, so he might view Yuji's ethical principles as a dull hindrance. They are total opposites, making their relationship strained from the beginning. Someone who disregards human life can never be on accord with someone who does. We've seen Sukuna tell Yuji many times on why he doesn't care when a human clings to life, because to him, it's like ants on the floor. Sukuna is a curse after all, and simply does not care. Yuji tries to make Sukuna understand and have compassion, but it never works out in the end for him. Despite Sukuna's contemptuous attitude toward Yuji, this dynamic is one of the central conflicts in Jujutsu Kaisen. Yuji's journey involving proving himself not only to his allies but also to Sukuna, in hopes of finding a way to control or defeat the King of Curses. This rivalry and the contrasting personalities of the two characters make for an engaging and complex narrative in the series. Sukuna is a character who takes great pride in his power and status as a cursed spirit. He sees himself as a supreme being, and he revels in chaos, destruction, and the suffering of others. To him, human life is expendable, and he enjoys causing harm and chaos for his own amusement. However, he doesn't just view any challenge as worthy of his acknowledgement. He reserves a certain level of respect for those who can genuinely pose a threat to him or offer an interesting confrontation. Sukuna shows love to those who challenges him by giving them death. Many people wanted to be recognized by Sukuna to validate who they thought themselves to be, and he met that response and slaughtered them just like what he told Kishimo. To him, that is love, and how he responds to love. It's all still worthless to him, as he doesn't care if anyone can understand him. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, sorcerers and cursed spirits often engage in battles for survival and supremacy. Sukuna acknowledges the strength and determination of individuals who are able to challenge him and push him to the limit. When such opponents manage to impress him with their skills, he may show his love by giving them a swift and honorable death. This form of respect is, of course, incredibly twisted and perverse, as it involves acknowledging someone's prowess in combat and then rewarding them with a violent demise. This complex dynamic adds depth to Sukuna's character and serves as a driving force in the series. Many characters seek to confront him and prove themselves against his ancient and powerful cursed spirit. The big question is, why did he not kill Yuji? He easily had the chance to destroy Yuji after taking over Megumi's body, but instead allows him to live and gets away. There could be a few reasons as to why he did this. Yuji consumed one of Sukuna's severed fingers, which turned him into a host for Sukuna's curse. As a result, Yuji carries a part of Sukuna within him. Sukuna could be aware that by killing Yuji, he would lose one of his precious fingers, and he is determined to collect all of them to regain his full power. Killing Yuji would mean losing this important piece of himself. Many people had theorized that Yuji is the last finger for Sukuna to consume, as he still never found his last finger because Gojo had hid it somewhere. This could end up being an important significance later down the line in the story. Sukuna is a character who enjoys chaos, suffering, and power. He finds amusement in tormenting Yuji, who is his host. Sukuna sees potential in Yuji as a vessel and takes pleasure in toying with him, testing his limits and watching him struggle. Killing Yuji too quickly would deny Sukuna the opportunity for further entertainment. Well, he will certainly get another chance, as Yuji's coming down to face Sukuna with Higuruma. We will see if he can amuse Sukuna just like how he wants. He questions what the brat could even do, but who knows just how Yuji will be able to take him on. Sukuna might still have other plans in store for Yuji, as he has shown some mercy towards him, but now that they reface each other once again, I don't think he will show the same mercy. Sukuna's expectations of Yuji are quite puzzling. It's like he has expectations of Yuji to become a powerful sorcerer so that he can respond to him and match that. We have seen Sukuna watch Yuji and learn more about him through his fights and his life, and he even once was disappointed when Yuji lost to Chozo and couldn't believe that he lost to such a weaker opponent. This lets us know that Sukuna had some expectations of Yuji to at least defeat a certain caliber of opponents, and Yuji let him down. Sukuna never gave him tips on how to improve, but still showcased what was possible with his body. This in turn allowed Yuji to be soaked in Sukuna's curse energy and making him more powerful. It helped a lot when he went against Mahito during the Shibuya incident. Sukuna views Yuji as a source of entertainment. He takes pleasure in observing Yuji's struggles, battles, and growth as a Jujutsu sorcerer. He expects Yuji to continue facing challenges and evolving, providing him with amusement. This is shown evidently a lot, and he wants the suffering of Yuji to continue more. Sukuna anticipates that Yuji will continue pushing his own limits and honing his combat abilities. He expects Yuji to become a more formidable adversary, providing him with more interesting challenges in their confrontations. He wants to see how far Yuji's suffering will go to turn him into a better sorcerer, and he just gets a kick out of it seeing him down. Sukuna completely manipulates Yuji and the circumstances surrounding him to serve his own interests. He made Yuji a pawn in his schemes and to act in ways that further his goals, whether knowingly or unknowingly. Sukuna's expectations of Yuji are not based on any sense of friendship or genuine care, but rather in self-interest, amusement, and the pursuit of his own goals. Their dynamic is a central element of the series, as Yuji strives to find a way to control or eliminate Sukuna, while Sukuna continually tests and challenges him. This complex relationship adds depth to the story and serves as a driving force in Jujutsu Kaisen. While I think Sukuna's hate for Yuji can go in many ways, and it's also a factor as to their relationship and what we've seen from them far. Let me know what you guys think. Is Sukuna using Yuji to become a bigger obstacle for him later on, or does he just enjoy suffering that allows him to continue living on longer? Let me know in the comments. Well, I thank you guys for watching the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be back in the next one. Peace.